Hello, I'm Pete Bailey from Fox Coaching and welcome to the overview video which introduces you to 3 key videos which would be great if you could watch in advance of the workshop. There's 3 videos which cover different areas. The first is looking at the purpose and principles behind interviews. The second will look at your mindset going into interviews. And the third looks at how we respond to questions, and particularly how we rehearse for questions. It's really useful if you can watch these in advance. The way that we've structured them is to go through, address a whole lot of questions that we might have about interviews. And it's particularly useful to have some time to mull these over and think about them, because they readjust our mindset and mean that probably we have to do much less work in advance of an interview, and that the work we do will be effective and targeted, and we can go into the interview feeling confident to know we know what we're facing, essentially, and to have a strategy and some clear objectives, and to have rehearsed effectively and not spent forever writing the PowerPoint slides, but also to have worked on our delivery a bit. So, as I say, these interviews are structured according to a lot of questions, and there's no black and white answers to these, but there are some key principles. So the first video looks at key principles and the purpose of interviews. And we ask or interrogate questions, including what is an interview good for? What's the point of it? What kind of beast is an interview? How do you get inside the mind of the panel? If you were on the panel, what would you be looking for in a candidate? And also, what would be your criteria? So the conversation that the panel might have after you've left the room to decide whether you get the bid or the job or not, what would be the win-lose factors that they are talking about that enable them to decide that? How long is your CV? And will they have read it? And if they've read it, will they remember any of it? The second video looks particularly at your mindset. And just so that we position ourselves with the right attitude going into the room and the right attitude to rehearse, and the right attitude to relate to the panel effectively. We can become a very conservative and cautious, perhaps even nervous version of ourselves in an interview. And often we don't have much time to practice. We don't necessarily get to do interviews very much. So we're again looking at a few key questions, but particularly to think, do we approach the interview trying to make it safe, trying to limit our discomfort? Or do we have the courage to be bold? Have a think about which the panel would prefer. And counterintuitively, being a bit bold will actually feel more comfortable. But what does that mean? There's a danger that we tend to go into an interview trying to avoid getting it wrong, rather than treating every question as a springboard or an opportunity or a chance to disclose. We treat it like a test. We can probably easily talk about our content, or if we're an academic, about the science or the academic research or the content of the bid, but actually perhaps feel less comfortable talking about ourselves. And that might be a key thing that the panel want to know about. Are you able to sell not only the bid, but also yourself in an unembarrassed way? Or is there a danger that you retreat into a kind of false humility? Are you happy talking about the future? Or are you only talking about the past? And can you use concrete examples? The third video looks at responding to questions. Why, in an interview, can it be so difficult to actually hear the question that's asked? How long should your answers be? How do you structure your responses under pressure, and why is that so important? And how can you rehearse for something which you don't know what the questions will be? So how do you rehearse for spontaneity? So enjoy the videos, and I'm very much looking forward to meeting you and working with you in the practical workshops. It's Pete Bailey from Fox Coaching. Thanks very much.